One moment, you don't exist. The next, you're floating above a graveyard, and the first thing you learn is that being made of gas means everything wants to scatter you. You don't even have time to wonder what you are before the night breeze hits you. It's barely enough to rustle dead leaves, but to you, it might as well be a hurricane. Your consciousness stretches thin, parts of you drifting toward the oak tree, other parts spiraling toward the cemetery gates. You're not dying, you're dissolving. Panic floods through whatever passes for your nervous system. Some primal instinct kicks in. The same force that formed you from decay and spite. You compress, pulling every wisp back toward your core. When you stabilize, you're pressed against a tombstone, using it as a windbreak. Your first survival lesson: wind is your deadliest enemy. That's when you realize something that will define your existence. To survive, you'll have to become a master of reading the air itself. But surviving the wind is only lesson 1. Lesson 2 is much darker. You need to eat, and your food is the life force of others. The hunger hits you like a physical weight. You're literally fading, your gaseous form becoming thinner, more transparent. Without energy, you'll simply stop. Your first target is a sleeping Rattata. You don't know what you're doing, just that something inside you craves the warm glow of life radiating from its small body. You envelop it completely, and the energy transfer is immediate. Warmth floods through you, your form solidifying, growing stronger. But the Rattata's breathing becomes shallow, labored. Panic hits you. You pull back just as the Rattata's heartbeat starts to falter. It gasps awake, stumbles away on shaky legs, but it's alive. You've learned the most important rule of feeding. Take only what you need, never what they can't spare. Over the following nights, you perfect the technique. A light touch here, a gentle drain there. Your victims wake up tired, nothing more. They never see you coming, and they never know you are there. You've become the perfect predator, invisible, untouchable, and merciful. But being untouchable has a price you didn't expect. By your 3rd week of existence, you've mastered the basics of not dying. Now you need something every apex predator requires: territory. You scout dozens of locations before finding it. An abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town. Perfect hiding spots, minimal wind exposure, and a steady stream of curious humans to feed from. There's just one problem. You're not the only one who's noticed. A family of Rattata have nested in the walls. Zubat hang from the rafters. A few stray Meowth have claimed the upper floors. They've turned your perfect haunting ground into a crowded apartment complex. But you have something they don't. A talent for making life uncomfortable. You start small, moving their food while they sleep, making doors creak at 3 a.m., flickering lights that don't exist, cold spots that follow them around. Within a week, the Rattata family packs up and leaves, too spooked to stay. The Zubat follow soon after, unnerved by the constant supernatural activity. The Meowth hold out the longest, but even they eventually abandon the mansion when their sleep becomes plagued by ghostly pranks. The mansion is yours. Every creaking floorboard, every shadowy corner, every draft-free hiding spot. You've won your first territorial battle through fear and mischief. But as you float through your empty mansion, you realize something you hadn't considered. Victory tastes a lot like loneliness. Months pass, and you become everything a ghost is supposed to be: invisible, untouchable, and absolutely terrifying. You've perfected the art of survival, Wind patterns are as readable as a map. You can drain just enough energy to sustain yourself without leaving a trace. Your mansion is a fortress of fear that no living creature dares enter. You are the perfect ghost. Master of your domain, completely in control of your environment. That's when you see them, through the mansion's cracked window. A family of Eevee playing in the moonlight. The parents are teaching their pup how to pounce, how to play, how to be together. Something inside you stirs. Not hunger, something else. You drift closer to the window, watching as the young Eevee tumbles over its sibling. Both of them laughing in that way only the truly happy can. Without thinking, you phase through the glass. You want to… what? Play? Touch? Be part of something? The pup notices you. Instead of running, it bounds over, curious and fearless. It tries to nuzzle against you, the way it did with its parents. But there's nothing to nuzzle. Your gas and spite and loneliness. The pup passes right through you, stumbles, looks confused. The parents call their young one back, sensing danger they can't see. The family disappears into the night, leaving you floating alone in the empty field. You are the perfect ghost, untouchable, unstoppable, and completely, utterly alone. You're drifting through the forest near your mansion, still haunted by the memory of the Eevee family, when you hear it. Quiet sobbing coming from beneath an old oak tree. A little girl sits alone, maybe 8 years old, tears streaming down her face. She's clutching a torn backpack, and there's a scrape on her knee that's still bleeding. Your first instinct is to drift away. Humans mean trouble, but something about her stops you. She's not running, not screaming. She's just sad. Then she does something impossible. She looks directly at you. Not through you, not past you, at you. Even though you're completely invisible. You freeze. No one has ever detected you when you didn't want to be found. But there's no fear in her eyes, just recognition. Like she's met your kind before. Against every survival instinct you've developed, you let yourself become visible. Your purple form materializes in the moonlight, toxic gas swirling around your core. She doesn't scream. She doesn't run. Instead, she slowly reaches out her hand toward you, the same way someone might approach a frightened animal. For the first time in your existence, someone is looking at you without fear. And you have absolutely no idea what to do with that. You want to help her. The urge surprises you. You've spent months perfecting the art of being feared. And now you want to comfort someone? You drift closer, trying to figure out how to wipe away her tears. But every time you reach out, your gaseous form just swirls around her face without making contact. You can move objects when you focus, but gentle touch? That's something you've never learned. She shivers in the cold night air. You try to wrap yourself around her like a blanket, but your toxic nature makes her cough. You pull back quickly. The last thing you want is to hurt the first person who isn't afraid of you. You notice her torn backpack and try to help. Moving the scattered contents back inside is easy. You've moved plenty of objects before. But she needs more than just things organized. She needs comfort, warmth, connection. All the survival skills you've mastered, the perfect stealth, the precise energy feeding, the territorial dominance, none of them prepared you for this. You can terrify a room full of teenagers, but you can't comfort one lost child. She looks at you with those trusting eyes, and you realize something that changes everything. For months, you've been the perfect ghost, untouchable, invisible, alone. But watching her, you understand what you actually want to be. You don't want to be the perfect predator anymore. You want to be someone who can help, someone who can connect, someone who can touch the world without destroying it. And that realization hits you like lightning. The realization doesn't just change your mind, it changes your body. When the light fades, you're no longer just a floating ball of gas. You're Haunter, taller, more imposing, with actual hands extending from your gaseous form. You look down at your new hands, excited. Finally, you can comfort her properly. You loom over the girl, trying to look friendly and helpful, but she just tilts her head and smiles. You're kind of cute, she seems to think, looking at your attempt at being gentle. Cute? You're a terrifying ghost with floating hands. You try to look more frightening, but she just giggles softly. Fine, you'll just wipe her tears directly with your new hands. You reach out gently, and she starts coughing from your toxic gas. Right, still made of poison gas. You look around and notice her torn backpack has a small cloth poking out. You carefully pull it free and use it to gently dab her tears. There, you're still toxic, still vulnerable to wind, but now you have hands. And more importantly, you've learned how to help without causing harm. You guide her through the forest, your new form floating beside her as she walks. When she stumbles over roots in the darkness, you use your hands to move fallen branches out of her way. When thorny bushes block the path, you can carefully part them without getting tangled. At the edge of the forest, you can see the lights of town in the distance. She'll be safe from here. She looks back at you one more time, and you see something in her eyes. Not fear, not pity, but understanding. She waves goodbye and walks toward the lights. You watch until she disappears, then float back towards your mansion. But something's different now. The empty halls that once felt like a fortress now feel lonely. You've tasted connection, and isolation doesn't satisfy the way it used to. You started as a wisp of gas and spite, learning to survive in a world that wanted to scatter you. Through months of survival, you became something you never intended, completely alone. But tonight, you learned something that no amount of survival instinct could teach you. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to remain untouchable. Sometimes it's choosing to reach out, even when you don't know what you'll find. You're no longer just surviving, you're learning how to live. That's when you hear familiar voices outside, teenagers daring each other to enter your mansion. You grin, flexing your new hands with anticipation. You've learned about connection tonight, but some things never change. Time to remind them why this place has a reputation.